Blessings, everyone. Happy Sunday evening. Thank you for joining me on Sunday Night Alive. December 17th. We are sliding our way right into Christmas. So my name is Reverend Denise Schubert. You have joined me on Sunday Night Alive. I am an ordained New Thought minister, and I'm here to raise consciousness and to invite people into a happier, more powerful, poised, and confident existence, and to be difference makers on our planet. So if you're here with me, please check in and say hello. I love seeing your names, and I love seeing your face. I can't see your faces, but soon I'm going to Zoom with you soon. But for now, it's still me looking at myself on a computer screen, hoping that I can see you. Oh my God, yes, I hear it's pretty nasty in North Carolina right now. Too dense. Oh, so I hope you're all doing well. We're on our final week of radical self-care, and it's been interesting for me. I'm going to share with you kind of where I land on week 7 myself, and I have loved it, and I always love being with you and always talking about such things. So tonight we're going to wrap it up. I do have, as promised, a kind of a list of to-dos, though I'm much more inclined on the way of to being rather than to doing. But there are things you can do to practice radical self-care going into 2024. Hi, Brian and Jim and Mama Tamales. But I've kind of got left where I get left with everything, which is that life's happiness, well-being, health, prosperity, power really comes from a place of deep self-appreciation and self-love. And so radical self-care really is something we be, and then the doing naturally follows. Doing follows being, right? So it's really be, do, have. Be, do, have is really the sequence of manifestation, of the secret of manifestation. So I'm going to bless us. Let me speak a word of blessing upon us. It is December 17th. By the way, next Sunday is Christmas Eve, and I'm going to not stream next Sunday, though I am going to do a special New Year's Eve streaming for setting a powerful spiritual intention for your 2024. So I hope you can join me before you come to the parties. Come to me, and we'll see what happens there. But for now, let's take a breath together. Let's take a moment and center ourselves. So the days are busy right now. They are for me. I'm assuming they are for you as well. I'm finishing up my tenure for the time being at Unity of Naples, December 31st. So I have plans for all of us after December 31st, but it's very busy time in a spiritual community because we have Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And this year we're doing the special Christmas extravaganza at the church property with, like, I don't know, like 100,000 lights. It's really quite spectacular. And I do my final talk at Unity on New Year's Eve. And then I'm here with you for a while. I'm going to teach a class and then go off to Africa, and I'll talk about that at the end. But for now, take a much needed moment to ground yourself, to get into your body, into your mind, into the space wherever you are. Letting go of your to-do lists, letting go of what you haven't accomplished, letting go of anything you have to do this week. Simply breathing into this eternally now moment where you exist, all is well, and we're together. So that is good. And I do speak a blessing upon our evening together, knowing that as we focus on serving the sacred of us and the sacred of others, that we do we do participate in the solutions to all of our problems. We participate in our own well-being and happiness. We participate on every level with every good thing when we are grounded and taking care of ourselves. And so I invite us all to open our minds, open our hearts, become receptive to whatever the message might be for you tonight. I just sit over here and I talk, and it lands on you however it lands on you in whatever way you need it to land on you. It cannot help but land because you're here. And so I'm grateful in advance for all of the good. We let this time be whole and perfect and complete, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. So this it's very, very hard in our culture, really. I facilitated a women's group today. We had a wonderful, wonderful opportunity together, all of us, and really noticing really how hard it is to, um, as women, but also just as people in this time and space in this culture we're in with the market, the media, and consumerism and materialism, how hard it is to really focus on ourselves. And we talked earlier in this series about selfishness and how most of us were raised to not be selfish. We were actually admonished, do not be selfish. So when we talk about radical self-care, it almost feels like we're doing something wrong to care for ourselves more than we care for other people. But as we discussed in week 1, it's not really possible to be a generous and generative force for good if you are always tired or always hungry or always broke or always lonely. It's not, you can't really be a positive influence in your sphere of influence if you're not taking care of yourself. So, so we really talked about selfishness and talked about some of the things we can do. But I promised you kind of a list. I'm going to give you a list tonight of things you can do in 2024 that could be very positive, natural things for you to do to increase your happiness level, to increase your well-being, to increase your comfort. Though that's not really what I want to talk about tonight. I actually want to go back to the being part of the doing and to talk about what it means to embrace the philosophy, faith, and way of life that I'm representing here, and that you seem to join me almost every week. So you must be also part of this new thought, philosophy, faith, and way of life. And the truth is, we have really two major premises that if you can wrap yourself around them, if you can embody them, if you can accept them, if you can commit to them, the quality of your life will change simply because it's just the way that it works. You know, like to grow a plant, you need a seed, you need some water, you need some sunlight, you need some earth with some good nutrients. And if you provide the right environment to grow something, it will blossom. So you want to take care of the back end before you worry about the front end. So, but there are some things you can do. So radical self-care means, uh, for me, means making sure that the way that you show up in life, what you choose to do, who you choose to be with, what you choose to say, where you choose to work, how you choose to spend your time and your money serves your spirit, because your spirit has its own intention separate from your human personality. Most of us don't know what that is because it got a little bit muddied up when we were children, and our parents had an agenda for us, and our church had an agenda for us, and schools have an agenda for us, and your big sister had an agenda for you. So we kind of forget that we are spiritual beings having a human experience for the purpose of the evolution of our own consciousness. Now, in New Thought, we teach two major principles. One is that God, this thing that we call God, this thing that we call spirit or unconditional love or the quantum field, is inside of us as well as surrounding us. That we teach a up close and personal relationship to divinity. So it's not something you don't have. It's not something you earn. It's not something you get to participate in more if you're a good girl or a good boy. It's who you are, that you are made in the image and likeness of that which made everything. So God is, in our philosophy, God is personal. It's inside. So all you ever need to do in order to change anything, in order to talk to your higher power, is to turn within. That may sound a little bit to us like, well, of course, but it's not of course to most people in the world. For most people in the world, God is outside, all powerful, and we are over here, less powerful than God, striving to be happy in a world that is absolutely crazy and that we seem to have no power over. But that's definitely not the truth. You do have power, because the second important foundational idea of the new thought, philosophy, faith, and way of life is that God is inside, internal, and your thoughts, your beliefs, your unconscious, subconscious intentions are are the tools of manifestation. So what you think creates, how you feel creates, what you commit to creates. So not only are you and God a majority, but you are empowered by God, gifts from God, not because you earn them, because of who you are, to actually utilize your consciousness for improving your own life and improving the life for all other people on this planet. So if you can embrace those two ideas, your life will be established. You will no longer strive to be a better human being. You will no longer suffer. You will no longer work to change things, because you will understand that all you need to do is get into right relationship through your consciousness, through your thinking, your emotions, your actions, your words, and the all good will flow to you. So I'm going to wrap up tonight with radical self-care, with that, coming back to that idea. But for now, I'm going to give you, because I promised you, a kind of a list of things you can do or things you can look at in order to practice taking care of yourself in a radical way, in a unusually proactive way. There are things that you can do. We did talk last week about uncluttering your life, uncluttering your house. Hi, Carol. Uncluttering your house, uncluttering your car, uncluttering your checkbook, uncluttering your computer, like to make because clutter dampens energy, and you want the space around you to be crisp and clean and clear. You meditate not so much to make contact with God, though, because you're always connected to God, but we meditate to be silent, so that we can hear. You can hear and catch in consciousness what is yours to do. So so here's my list. I'm going to give you a list. If any of these apply to you, great. If not, that's great too. You just kind of be present to what I'm saying, how it lands on you. So last week we talked about do not tolerate too much clutter or mess in your space. If you feel cluttered, clean it up. Give things away, throw things away, donate things. I promise you, we talked about this last week. All the things in your garage that have been sitting there for 27 years, somebody can use them. Somebody will want them. Somebody, actually, probably lots of families need them. How many sets of china can you possibly use? How many Christmas tree lights, right? So do not tolerate too much clutter or mess. And in that arena, you can clean up your computer, delete files, back up your computer. Do you know how much energy that will give you if you're not worried about things like that? Clean your house, completely resolve any legal or tax issues. If you have anything from the past that's following you like that, clean it up. Call somebody, call the IRS, tell them you need help, call a tax accountant. Um, hire, this could be radical self-care. Hire a housekeeper to come in once a month and mop your floors, clean the toilets and the stove and the refrigerator. Do you know how awesome that is to have somebody do that if you don't want to or you don't have time to? I love this one. If your spouse, your children, or your pets do not bring you joy and energy, get some counseling and support to find out why, right? Because our kids, our spouses, and our pets, all of those things, you can't like just discard them. They are part of your commitment in life. So, but there's a reason if they don't bring you joy. So work on seeing if you can resolve that reason. Obviously, I love the one, do not chase anyone or anything. Do not chase anyone. I can't remember if we did this last week. It's one of my favorites because it means, so how many of us have regret or concern over that person who we used to be friends with but then disappeared? Or, in my case, I might be a minister and I have congregants or community members who decide not to come to church anymore. And how many sleepless nights have I ever had about them? So realize that every single human being is on their own journey. And sometimes their journey calls them to places where you're not. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything about you. In fact, I would almost always say it doesn't mean anything about you. So rather than argue or with yourself or chase them down, just don't chase anything. Just let everyone be where they need to be. That's a little bit about living in the here and now. Living in the here and now, uh, um, radical self-care means that you let yourself off the hook and let other people off the hook for any past behaviors, words, or transgressions. You can, and people do, live their whole lives regretting something that happened years and decades ago, and that you will never fulfill your spiritual destiny if you are forever playing those tapes back in your mind. So that's some, just get present. Obviously, the body needs exercise, sleep, water, good nutrition. Those are lists of things to do. You can quit, sell, or change professions. So if what you do every day for a living does not bring you joy or happiness, do you know how spiritually ungrounded that is? Because you only get this life. This is your life. So as Steve Jobs said, if you're not leaving your house every morning excited about what you're about to do, you need to change. You need to find something else to do because you you have unique spiritual gifts and talents which you have chosen to come here to give to other people. So if what you're doing isn't giving those, then you need to find a profession or a job or a volunteer position or a hobby in which you can feel fulfilled and satisfied by those things, by what you're doing every day. You can revoke or make new agreements for promises or commitments you've already made. So do not think that just because you committed to serving in a volunteer position means you have to do it forever. You do not. And just because we all know this one, when we all got married, all of us got married, we got married for better or for worse until the day that we die. Now, we all know that the majority of people don't honor that commitment anyway, and it's spiritually unsound to not be present to is this promise that I made 26 years ago still feeding my soul and your soul, or the job you're at, or the relationship you're in, or the house you live in? That if those things are not contributing to your joy and your happiness, change them. It's okay to change. It really is okay to change. And it's okay to renegotiate a commitment. You know, it's okay. I just want you to know that it's okay. Everything's okay, especially when you do it from a standpoint of love. Um, Identify three sources of stress in your life, and find a way to get rid of them. Find a way to either transform them or release them if they're causing you stress. Now, some of you might be listening to me and say, well, Denise, please, life is stressful. Things are stressful. You can't always avoid stress. You can't always avoid difficult. What if you have a mother in a nursing home? Or what if you have a diagnosis or you're going through treatment? Of course, we're not really talking about that. We're really talking about, given life and what life gives to you, how can we maximize our capacity to take care of ourselves under any and every circumstance? How can you practice radical self-care for we talked earlier about um, the higher why. Like, why would we even have this conversation? Well, we need to have it because the world needs people who are happy. The world needs people who are full of life and are walking the walk of um, worthiness and deservedness and self-love and self-care. And in truth, you can't love anyone if you don't love yourself. You can't really take care of anyone if you're not taking care of yourself. You and I know what happens when you take care of people and not taking care of yourself. What happens? If we were on a Zoom call right now, we could discuss this one together, but I can assume that what happens to you if you're not taking care of yourself is the same thing that happens to me, which is we become resentful or exhausted or angry or out of touch with our own feelings and emotions. We become tired, we become depressed, we overeat, we oversmoke, we overdrink. If you're not taking care of yourself, you are not available to give your gifts and talents in life. You are not available to raise consciousness wherever you are, right? Do you understand? So, so that's my list. Because all of these things I'm going to tell you, the most important thing here for me to finish up the series about is for you and I always to remember that you and God are majority. That this infinite wisdom and intelligence and love that governs this universe, that knows. I was thinking, I'm going to back up for a minute. The place where I live when I go to South Africa is Bush Baby Haven, and the woman who is the proprietor of Bush Baby Haven, her name is Tanya, and she just had a baby. She just had a baby, and so uh, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I don't know. I can't remember why I brought her up, but it has something to do with uh, recognizing the magnificence of the universe, the magnificence of a God that created you, and how as I was thinking about how babies don't breathe air in the uterus, like they're this this fully 9-month old baby waiting to be born is in your uterus, and she had a C-section and she filmed the C-section. So they did the incision and pulled this baby out that you are watching on camera. And I just found it so extraordinary that this child, 1 minute before, was not breathing air, was in the mother's uterus, happy, swimming, growing, and all of a sudden, out it comes and it takes a breath of air and it poops, and it's a person, just like you and me. That's how we all started. And that this universe is so intelligent, so wise, so orderly, so perfect in its creation and execution that all of our lives should be like that. That is the prototype for our own happiness, no matter what age we are, whether you're a brand new baby, whether you're 10 years old, 20, or in 70, 80, or beyond. Hmm. Oh, yeah. So, Elizabeth, I'll come back to you. So the most important thing in life, in order for you to optimize the possibility that you are, you know, Indian guru said that if all we do in this lifetime is breathe, pee, poop, eat, procreate, that we're wasting something because, unlike a lion or a giraffe or an ant or a bird or a carrot, we are unique in that we are complicated. We are complex beings, and that we have the capacity to think, to deduce, to decide, to proclaim, to declare, that we have so much potential. So there's some opportunity we have to live beyond the worry, doubt, and fear that plagues our society. And that our society is plagued. I mean, I'm not, as a new thought minister, I'm not in any way saying that the world's not crazy. The world is crazy. And it's crazy because people are not awakened to their roots. They're not aware of their spiritual nature. They're not aware that they're connected to that which connects all things. And so the ego takes over. So we have worry, doubt, fear, lack. We live from an evidence-based life. We forget who we really are. We think that we don't deserve love or deserve happiness or deserve money or deserve health. And as a result, the people get violent and depressed and selfish. But that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because we live in such an abundant, organized, intelligent universe that any of us, any one of you and I, we can have what we want. We can create lives that we love. You can have a life that you love. You can hit your deathbed so happy about how you lived. And it means putting the past to bed and understanding your spiritual nature and living from your spiritual identity. If you do that, you will enter into an unparalleled experience of worthiness and deservingness. You deserve all good things, no matter what was done to you, no matter what you've done, no matter what it's been in the past, that your life is preordained. You have already been appointed and anointed to be happy and free. And because God is real and you're affiliated by birth, and because your thoughts are powerful, you can change your thinking. You can change what you think and change your life. Is this easy? No, because you have to undo so many years of orientation, so many years of prior thinking, so many years of prior agreements you've made with yourself and other people. I want you to join with me on New Year's Eve as I'm going to work with us to create a powerful container for 2024 to call forth something completely and totally new for you. But I do want to close this session on radical self-care by bringing us back to being. If you Elizabeth asked a very important question on this chat. She's asking a question that, what do you do if your circumstances are hard? What do you do if you're in circumstances you didn't choose? What if you're in circumstances that are taxing or tiring or emotionally draining? And that could be anything. I mean, Mandela was imprisoned for so many years, and he found his peace of mind and his spiritual purpose in prison. He did not let prison dampen his belief in God or his belief in himself. And he came out of prison still serving as a political activist for good, even in prison. Elizabeth, your question really has to do, what if you're in family situations that you cannot walk away from? You have someone with dementia. You're taking care of someone who's sick. You yourself are sick. What do you do? Well, you do whatever you need to do to experience happiness and well-being. Now, I don't know your circumstances exactly, but maybe you hire somebody to give you some time off. In addition to eating right and sleeping right and drinking lots of water and meditating as you can, maybe you find ways to get some time off to do things that you love, which feed your soul and buoy your strength to do that which is before you to do. So the being part of this really has nothing to do with the world. It's got nothing to do with changing the world so that you can be happy. It's got to do with generating the happiness from your place of knowing that you deserve and are worthy of happiness. And as I shared with the women's group today, uh, and this is very important, the universe is intelligent, evidenced by how babies grow and get born, evidenced by how carrots grow, evidenced by how the planets rotate. That there is intelligence built into the system. So the universe is designed to obey your every wish, but it has to be a sincere wish. It has to be a committed wish. It has to be um, it has to be something that you have the courage and the willingness to rise up to receive. So your thoughts, God doesn't listen to your words, right? You can say, because when you all know this, when you first come to New Thought, they give you affirmations. I am happy, I am happy. But if you're not happy, to say I'm happy feels stupid. Well, what do you mean I'm happy? I'm not happy. But the thing is, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Does happiness lead to happiness, or does your commitment to happiness lead to happiness? Because if you use your circumstances, past, present, or future, to determine your experience in life, your experience in life will always be limited by what happened in the past. There's this beautiful metaphysical story in the Bible of um, I'm going to forget his name. The character, they were leaving the the town of Sodom, uh, and the wife, they were leaving, and she looked back at the city she was leaving, and she turned to salt. And it's very, very interesting analogy here, because it says that when you're heading off to your future, when you're heading off into your future, you cannot look to the past. Do not regret the past. Do not miss the past. Do not, part of don't chase anything is don't chase your youth. Don't chase that best relationship. Don't chase that better job. That when we're moving into the future, you just look or you get stuck. So you want to really approach tomorrow. Even tomorrow, it's not even necessarily, you don't have to go too far out. Just go to, how can I change how I think and what I do and the commitments I make from tomorrow on? So radical self-care means believing yourself to be deserving and worthy of every good thing. Move into the future with a positive expectation that whatever happens, you're going to like it, because your job is to give God the what, not the how. Give God the, I commit to being peaceful, and let the universe create peace for you. Give God, I'm committed to being healthy, and let the universe give health to you. Give to God, I'm committed to having loving relationships, and let God bring to you those relationships. You do the what, the universe will do the how, because it's how it works, right? Carrot seed, you plant the carrot seed. You don't know how to make it grow. You have no idea how to make a carrot grow, but the universe does. You put the seed in there, and all of a sudden, with enough nutrients and sun and water, you will have a carrot. You give God a committed intention of happiness, and pretty soon you're going to have happy circumstances. Not because you knew what they were, but because God knows God knows your heart. God knows what to bring you for happiness. So that's really how I want to close our radical self-care series, which is to take you back to yourself, back to the truth of who you are, back to the role you play in your happiness. It's not about changing outer circumstances, it's about changing you. If you change, your circumstances will change. And don't worry about the world too much. The world is pretty crazy, but don't worry about it. You don't want to spend your energy railing at a universe gone haywire. The universe is haywire because not enough people understand their relationship to the all that is, right? The majority of people don't know that they are God in form. They don't know that the universe is friendly. They don't know that it's okay to expect to move into life with positive expectations. Your expectations for life to turn out the way that you will be happiest and most peaceful, most fulfilled, if you expect that to happen, it will happen. If you don't expect it to happen, it won't happen. There is no such thing as luck or, you know, um, being stuck with, your parents' ideas or theology or the culture's opinions about what you should do. It's all it's all on you. Good news and bad news, right? Because it's much easier to blame outer circumstances for your lack of peace. Much harder to clean your consciousness so that peace is possible. Yes? All right. So that is radical self care. Yes. And, uh, we went over some of these things. Learn to say yes when you need to say yes, no when you need to say no. Engage yourself in activities that are forward you. Like if you commit, well, we'll talk about this on New Year's Eve. I'll come back to it on New Year's Eve when we create a container for your entire year, 2024. We're going to do it together. So, a couple of announcements before I pray us out. Um, uh, so New Year's Eve, I'm going to show you a couple of things. So New Year's Eve, create your 2024 from scratch. 6 p.m. On New Year's Eve for 1 hour. We're going to have a little process where you can create what an overarching idea for your 2024. And so you want to start your party. Start your parties at night with me at 6 p.m. We are not meeting next week. I did announce a class last week, but I've talked to many of you, so I want to change what I'm doing. So this is what I'm going to do instead. And I'm a girl, right? So girls get to change their minds. So I'm going to teach a Zoom class, Kingdoms of Consciousness, a pathway to your inner mystic, 5 weeks on Thursday nights or Saturday mornings. January 11th to February 8th on Thursdays, January 13th to February 10th on Saturdays on Zoom so that we can actually be in a classroom setting and talking to each other. $75, and you can register on my website. I'll also send out an email if you're on my blog mailing list. So that's the class on Zoom starting in January. And this is one of my favorite things to teach and for you to study. This work, I didn't make this up, this work changed my life. It's one of the most important conversations I think that we can have and I can have with anyone. So join me for that. And then when I go to Africa, I'm going to do something completely different. I want to set up a Zoom community uh, that I will meet with weekly for the 10 weeks I'm in South Africa. And I'm calling it the South African Zoom Connection, live from Bush Baby Haven. That will be Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, starting February 17th. When you register for this connection, I will send you the Zoom link, and we will meet on Zoom where there will be a spiritual lesson every week, as well as pictures and whatever experiences I'm encountering in my time in Africa. So I'm very excited. I am incredibly excited about both of those offerings. 5-week class for the Kingdoms of Consciousness, and then 10 weeks in South Africa. You consider it like your private personal safari. So just go to my website, deniseschubert.com, for that, to sign up for those. And please do sign up. Part of this is for me. It also keeps me connected spiritually to my community here in the United States. I'm looking forward to Zooming because this is a one-way street. I talk, you listen, and there's something really, really beautiful and elegant about conversation. Uh, Also, if you want to support this ministry with your love offerings, your tithes, and your gifts, you can also do that through the website at the page, donation page, or through PayPal, Zelle, or Venmo to revdschubert@gmail.com. And I welcome and appreciate your support in that way as well. So, so that is it for our Sunday Night Alive. I will continue doing Sunday Night Alive always. This is a kind of my home base, which is to do this every Sunday night. Sometimes, probably in Africa, I'll record it because there's a 7 hour time difference, and to stream to you at 6 p.m. on a Sunday night here, I would need to be up at, I would need to do it at 1 a.m. Well, I don't know, but whatever it is, I'm not doing that. My own radical self-care, I'm not doing that. So I may either record it or we'll shift the times, but we'll see. I'm still in Naples through the month of January and half of February. So I look forward to seeing you on New Year's Eve. I look forward to seeing you in a Zoom class. Please come. Don't let the money stop you from coming. If that's an issue, please let me know. But I would love to have that class just be full of people I love and having conversations that matter to us spiritually as we continue to evolve. All right, so let's take a breath, and I'm going to pray us out. So turn within with me to end our time together tonight. Simply, really, we start just by giving thanks, just to give thanks, just to be grateful for the opportunity to come together, for the technology that allows us to come together, for the interest in coming together. I mean, this life is so, it's like we live one life until we discover who we really are, and then we live a completely new life. And so it really is like a rebirth from being purely human to being purely spiritual. And in truth, we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in a human incarnation. So it's complicated. And because we have such a history of human domestication and conditioning, it's very hard sometimes to get over that hump where we stop living from the outside in and living from the inside out. But that is the goal. The goal is to find your way back to who you really are. And so I speak my word for and about each person within the sound of my voice, claiming and proclaiming your perfection. You are so worthy of happiness, so deserving of love and money and health that all we need to do is to move forward with in right relationship to the universe, which is that the universe is for us and not against us. The universe is conspiring for our greater good. The universe is forever sending to us everything that would make us happy. But if we can't receive it for whatever reason, we can't receive it for whatever reason. And so I accept that you release any blocks or obstruction to your receiving mechanism so that you can accept the good of God in your life in every area. No limits. And so I wish everyone a merry, merry Christmas, a Christmas of meaning, of value, of love, of peace on earth, peace in your families, peace in your hearts. Don't get too caught up in the materialism of the day. Get caught up in the giving birth to the Christ within you, which is its point. And so for all of this and so much more, I am grateful, letting these words loose into the hands of the divine, already manifesting the demonstration of them. Accept it, say yes, and so it is. Amen. All right, my beloveds, thank you so much. Truly have a wonderful Christmas with your family and your friends. I will miss you next Sunday, but I will see you on New Year's Eve at 6 p.m. to set up your 2024 in the most powerful and potent way. Please sign up for the class, sign up to be on the Zoom safari with me while I'm in Africa, and I will see you later. Mwah. Peace and blessings to you.